everybody, welcome to my next video. It's hard getting out of that thing. It's cold on that side too. Today we're going to be making chicken Alfredo. It's easy, it's delicious, everybody can make this. Let me show you what we're going to be needing to make this today. Alright, as you can see, there's not a lot of ingredients. I have Daisy sour cream. It's the best sour cream I've found so far. They don't pay me for this, but you know, Daisy, if you want to, you can. I'm not going to stop you. Chicken thighs. You can use breasts. You can use whatever you like. Chicken thighs are the tastiest and the most tender. That's what I prefer. There's a little bit of fat, but we can separate that. Heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream is heavy whipping cream. I haven't found any that's good or bad or anything. Save some money. Find whatever you can get at your local store. All-purpose flour, not self-rising. We will almost never use self-rising in the things we're cooking. Butter, salted is preferable in this one. If you want unsalted, that's up to you. You can have unsalted. And lastly, white mushrooms. I have some that are pre-sliced and some that need to be sliced. And I'm going to show you the proper way to slice them because there's a way to do it where you won't be cutting yourself. Okay, let's get going. What we're going to be using today, and I like cast iron and everything. We need a cast iron skillet for cooking the chicken, and we're going to need it for also cooking the sauce. I have a cast iron pan I use for boiling noodles. Anything big enough that you can use that's big enough to hold your noodles. And oh, what's that you ask over here? Oh, that's just a shameless plug for hats. Let me hold that up. Hats for kids. Hats for kids. Aprons with your name on it. And other aprons. So that's just my little business plug. One thing I forgot to mention for our ingredients, we're going to need yogurt. You want whole milk yogurt, plain. I use Dannon only because it's what the rest of my family eats. Again, they aren't paying me for it, although they could. I'm just telling you, this is what we're going to use today. So, moving right on to the chicken. I have a separate cutting board for my chicken. And what I'm going to do is separate the fat, trim the fat off. Because chicken thighs have a little more fat on them than chicken breasts. It's okay. If you want chicken breast because you're worried about the calories, that's fine. All we want to do is get it down to kind of like a bite-sized chicken. So that's what we're doing. We're taking the chicken, the grain runs this way. So we're going to first cut it against the grain. You can leave a little bit of fat on. A little bit of fat ain't going to hurt anything. Fat is always flavor. And then 1, 2. That's what we do. Look at that, cutting it right up. Alright, here we go again. Here's another chicken thigh. See the fat that's on the end? We're going to trim that down, trim it under, set it off to the side. Maybe pull some of this fat out. And again, strips, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Your choice. Alright, now I'm going to leave these a little bit bigger just so that we have bite size and we have sliver size. So you can see 2 different sizes of chicken. We have smaller chunks and the bigger chunks. Alright, there's a big chunk of fat I'm going to take off. Like I said, a little bit of fat doesn't hurt anything. A lot of fat, sometimes nobody wants to eat that. Okay, I'm going to go wash my hands and we're moving on to the next step. Okay, here we go with mushrooms. Now, as I showed you earlier, I have some that were pre-sliced from the store. I also have some that are whole. And yes, when they're whole, they are dirty. They come to the store from the store with dirt on them. You can wash them first if you want. I would not. I would wash them after. A wet mushroom is a slippery mushroom. If you wash it first, you have got to make sure you let it dry completely. The best way is to slice it and then wash it. You can hold on to it a lot better. You can keep the stem. Some people think they're sour, they taste different. I have never found that to be the case, but this is up to you. If you like peanut butter on your quesadilla, put peanut butter on your quesadilla. So, notice we're pushing away. Whoop, I'll separate those from the other ones. When we cut, we push away. Holding your knife like this is the best way. Your finger on the top. You have better control of the knife, and your brain kind of always knows where your finger is pointing. So, cutting away, cutting away. You don't want to be cutting toward you. You can pull the product off the table, and you can't see it as well. Pushing away, pushing away, pushing away, pushing away. Okay, just gonna cut the rest of these up. Your holding hand, I tell kids what they need to do is make the Boy Scout salute and then curl their knuckles under to hold it. The thing is, you don't want your little finger or your thumb out there. That's where you're not going to see what's going on. These 3 fingers are basically all you need to keep them under. Do it a few times and you'll get used to it. I guarantee if you go online and watch those chefs that are going crazy cutting, they're going to have cuts all over their holding hand before they got good at it. Okay, so now we're going to rinse our mushrooms. And here we are at the 2024 competition for chicken breading. Are you ready, Nadine? Are you ready? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Right.
Who do we have up here? I think we have Chef KenDad. Oh, look at that.
Flour. All-purpose flour.
A woman, a few words. A woman, a few words. I know. What do you think he's going to do? I think
Spread it around.
He's spreading it out even. Look at that. Spreading it out with his left hand. I think he's left-handed. You think he's going to use any spices? What kind of spices do you think he's going to use?
Maybe salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, you think? I think he's going to go,
Lowry's.
He's surprising everybody. He's pulling out the big guns. He's using the Lowry's.
Look at that pour action.
Is he going to just leave it on top? What now?
Who knows?
What's going to happen?
This is crazy.
Oh, he's mixing it. It's a two-handed mix.
Whoa!
The judges are going to like that. There's going to be a lot of points for this.
The chicken!
Chicken's going right in, both sizes. What do you think about that?
I think it's incredible. I don't even have words for it. Look at that mixing action.
Wow. I wonder what he's going to do with it. You think he's going to let it sit? You think he's going to throw it on the floor? Give it to his dog? What?
The dog. Give it to the dog.
Raw chicken? Are you okay?
Probably not. That's not a good
Okay, probably not. Okay, all right. Go, Ken, go! And now here's a public service message. I think what he's trying to tell us here is Chef KenDad is going to use butter. And for those that can't figure it out, he's showing us where the tablespoon markers are. I bet he was going to use that entire stick of butter and cut all the tables. Oh, he is! Look how quickly he cut that. Now he's showing you how to make sure the pan's hot. I know you're not supposed to put it into a hot pan unless you're really trained at what you're doing. So put it in cold, then turn it on, because you do not want that butter to break. If the butter breaks, it's not the kind of break you can fix. Once it's broke, it's ruined. I think the best thing to do is to let it cook and let it stir. There we go. Let it melt on it. You can let it stir, but I don't think it knows how to stir. So, to make sure our butter does not break, we're going to leave that just like that, and we're going to watch it. Kind of like watching paint dry, water boil. You have to watch it, because as soon as the last piece of this butter is melted, that's when we're going to add our chicken. You can go medium-high if you like, if you feel confident about being able to watch it. A lower temperature is just safer to make sure you don't burn it. If it's brown, crusty, or you see white salt floating on the top, you know that it's separated, you know that it's broke, you know you have to start over. So we're almost there. With our chicken that we're going to be adding, we're not adding all of the flour right up front. The flour that's on this chicken is going to mix with the butter and make a roux. A roux is a thickening agent for any kind of soup or sauce or cream sauce. It just helps thicken it. It's flour with a little bit of fat. And there we go. We're just about there. So what we're going to do is add our chicken. If you watch videos that I've made in the past, I love the sound of sizzle. I love it to sizzle when the chicken goes in, when the steak goes in. But in this case, we're trying to just cook the chicken lightly, but thoroughly, and get a thick roux at the same time. We don't necessarily want it browned. And there we go. Now, we're going to save some of this flour for a later thickening so we can use it for to thicken the sauce at the end if we need to. So we're going to set that aside, come back with our spatula, and stir. You can hear it starting to sizzle a little bit. And that's Zuzu, my dog. She loves to be a hoover. Anything I drop, she figures is hers. Zuzu, here. Here, get over there. Good girl. And now we're just going to let it sit. One of the hardest things to do with cooking is to let your food sit. Everybody wants to stir it all the time, flip it all the time. You don't need to. You want to keep your hand from burning because this gets hot. You can get a little handle for it. I bought these at Walmart. They're great. Going to put my lid over it. Don't necessarily need to. We're going to fill our pot now. 3/4 of a way with water, and we're going to turn it on and let it start getting hot. We're going to start getting our noodles ready. Now you can see I've got it just about 3/4 full. I fill it with hot water. All we're going to do is take our lid now, put it on the top. It's a common misconception that you have to boil pasta until it's done, and you don't. If you want your pasta to come out perfect, halfway through your process, start your water, bring it to a boil, then add your pasta. Now I forgot to tell you in the beginning, we're using fettuccine noodles. And this is another case of what you have is what you can use. If you have elbow macaroni, you can use it. If you have wide egg noodles, you can use it. If you have any kind of noodle, whatever you like, regular spaghetti, angel hair pasta, it doesn't matter. Pasta in this dish is whatever you have and whatever you want to use. Remember, we're not cooking hoity-toity, upturned nose avenue type food down in New York. We're cooking it at home. And that's what I'm going to use, is just my Muller's fettuccine. Now you can probably hear my chicken back here. It's starting to talk to me. That sizzle that I like to hear, I'm going to stir it up now. I haven't stirred it since I first turned it down, or turned it after the butter. What we want to do now is, now that everything's starting to cook, turn it down to medium, and we're going to let it simmer. We're going to take 2 more pieces of butter, and we're going to put them in and let them melt down. That chicken's starting to cook. It's starting to smell delicious. Our water's getting hot. One other thing I should tell you is this is an option, ricotta cheese. If you like it and it adds a little more sharp cheese flavor, you can add it. You don't have to. Surprisingly, I have found in my classes, most people prefer not to. So it's an option. As with everything, you add what you want, you leave out what you don't want. This is your food for you at home for your family. So we're going to let that cook down for another minute or two, and we'll be back. Now you can see the chicken is in need of turning. When you're cooking it down, you never want to stir it more than about once a minute. You need to let it cook. You need to let it brown. The breading is starting to brown now, but that's not brown from like a chicken brown or searing brown. That's the roux. That's the roux browning up. And there you go. You can see. Some of the chicken is white, like this piece here. Let me pull it up for you a little bit better. That piece there is white chicken. Let me turn the light off. You can see a little bit better. Thought I had the floor on that one. It's white. That's the chicken starting to cook. But the breading itself is brown. And the brown breading, like I said, is the roux cooking. You'd almost think it's the flour burning, and that's kind of what it is. But that's going to make a great thickening agent. We're going to let that cook now for another minute. Alright, our water's getting hot. Our chicken's pretty much cooked. We're going to add some minced garlic. You can use powder, you can use whole garlic. If you use whole garlic, you got to be careful unless you're very good about making sure you mince it up small or remove the bigger chunks. Because if you're not really watching what you're doing, somebody's going to bite into a piece of garlic. So, in this case, because it's a cream and it'll be hidden, I recommend minced garlic. Now we'll come back to our chicken. You can see that the breading is really starting to brown and crisp a little bit. That's okay. We're going to now turn it down to low, and from this point the chicken is going to be simmering. We're going to take a spoon, because my spatula was too big, and a blurble right there of minced garlic. Maybe a blurble and a half. And once you've got it in there, stir it around. Let that garlic cook into everything. Not for a long time. We're going to let it cook for about a minute, like everything else. Alright, at this point, a typical standard kind of way of making your chicken Alfredo would be to remove the chicken now, make the sauce in the pan, then add the chicken. That step isn't necessary. I add the remaining butter at this point and let it melt. And just like any other butter, remember, once it breaks, it's no good. Well, you have to watch it. Remember, we're still on low. We're melting it slowly. We're mixing it in, watching that butter melt. And you're getting a whitey, creamy, yellowy, buttery mixture in there. You can still see the minced garlic, and that's fine. We want it to simmer like this. We're going to let that sit. I'm going to check and see how our water is doing. Water is almost boiling, so that's what we're doing now, is another holding pattern of waiting at this point. All right, it's up to medium. You can see it starting to bubble in there and sizzle a bit. Here's what we're going to do. Stir it one more time. And for about every pound of chicken you have, you need a cup or a blurble of heavy whipping cream. Let's find where we're at. There we go. Oh, underneath. There we are. So what I'm going to do now is, now this bubbling, I'm going to add my blurble of whipping cream. This is all up to you how much you want to use. How much are you making? How many people are you feeding? This is going to thicken. Once you've got it all mixed in, turn your heat up to a full medium. If you already had it on medium, turn it up a little higher. And you'll see it start to really rise up. We're going to watch it now. Now you can see right there, it was bubbling up in the middle, it's thickening, there's butter on the outside edges, and it's kind of a roiling bubble. It's going to thicken as you stir now, and that's what you want. You want it to thicken. The minute you see half of it thickened up, and that's another blurble estimation, a blurble, a half. You can see it's starting to thicken the sauce. I'm turning it back down to low again. We wanted it to be hot to thicken, but we want it to be low to simmer. We're going to tap that. Now, if you like ricotta cheese, this is where you're going to add it, and it's going to be another blurble. 2 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons, just 2 blurbles like that. And we want it to mix in. This is going to thicken it even more. Sometimes at this point, because of how much cream you used or wrong temperature you might be cooking at, too hot, too low, you'll see that you need to add some of that flour we were saving to thicken it up. We can also add more heavy whipping cream if we want it to be thicker. But that looks beautiful right there. We're going to want that to simmer for 10 minutes on low. Okay, the water was boiling as I took the lid off. Taking off the lid removed some of the heat, so it dropped down a little bit on me, but that's okay. You're going to add as much as you think you need for your family. The size of a broomstick round, kind of like this, is what is going to be enough for one person. So I'm going to add 2 for now. I can add more later. I got another about there and put it in. You can use the same spoon you were stirring your chicken with. What you want to do is stir this until it starts to soften up. If your pot is too small for the noodles to fit in all the way, don't break them. You don't need to. Stir it until it's soft enough for all the noodles to fit down in the water. You want to stir it constantly at this point because it'll become one big block of noodle if you don't. So that's what we're going to do. Just stir, stir, stir. Now I can see that mine are starting to soften. Not a lot, just a little. And that's all we're looking for, is that softness and bend, like that. This is where we're going to turn it off, put the lid back on, and when we're ready, it's going to be ready. We're going to go back to stirring our Alfredo. Now at this point, I think mine's a little thicker than I would really want it to be. I could add water. I don't want to. I'm going to add some more, another blurble of heavy whipping cream. And it's going to tone it down. You can see that your sauce turned brown a little bit by how white the cream is going in. Yes, there we go. That's a nice creamy mix. Now sometimes you might not have enough extra cream on hand. You can add water. Water does not add to cold cream very easily. So make sure if you're going to add water, add your water to warm cream or hot cream. There we go. Now, we're just going to let that simmer on low. Let our noodles simmer on low. And that's going to be about it. Oh, what's that you say? We forgot mushrooms? Actually, we didn't. We don't want them overcooked. We don't want them browned. We want to have a little bit of a bite to our mushroom. So, we're going to put it in now. And the noodles are going to be our timer. When the noodles are perfect, the mushrooms will be as well. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. Okay. Now, if you're not making a mess, you're probably not doing it right. At least you're not having any fun. I got some flour on me. It happens. Got a little bit of a shelf here that catches it all. You can add broccoli if you like. I see broccoli inside chicken Alfredo quite often. It's delicious. Cut it into small pieces. If you don't like it, you don't add it. If you like carrots, you can put carrots in there. It's all up to you. But broccoli is the most common. You can buy frozen pizza doughs. Just the pizza dough. Cook it. Put this on top of the pizza. Cook it some more as is required by the dough directions. You'll have a chicken Alfredo pizza. And you can still put cheese over the top and pepperoni, whatever you want on it. You can put this over the noodles. You can mix it with the noodles. It's all up to you. So, we're going to set our timer now for 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I'm willing to bet everything is perfect. So here we go. I'm going to sign off. And for all you know, it could be tomorrow, but I bet it's only going to be 5 minutes. See, there's a clock behind me. We're almost there, as you can see by the clock over my left shoulder. We have about 2 minutes. At this point, I'm going to beg you like everybody begs. please like and subscribe. It is the only way I can grow on this channel. The only way I can get my videos out there so more people will see them. Everybody wants to be monetized, you know, everybody's got a goal. Please like and subscribe. And there was a big gap in between the last two videos, and I apologize. I'm going to stay up on it now. So that's it. There's my plea. There's my begging. Let's go back to finishing our dish. All right, here we go. When you lift up your lid, always tilt it on its side so the water runs in like it's doing there before you remove it. I'm just going to put it over here to have a place to keep it. Now, there's a lot of ways you can check and see if it's done. There's an old wise tale of throwing it against the wall if it sticks. But what if your walls are just dirty? If you bite a noodle and it's crunchy, you know it's not cooked. However, if you bite a noodle and it's mushy, it's overcooked. That's how you tell. It's perfect for me. I like a little bit of bite to my noodle. You can cook it more if you want. You can't cook it less because it's already cooked where it is. But it should be just about perfect for you. Okay, now that we know these are perfect, we're going to drain our noodles and mix them together. And I'm going to show you. There's a way to do this so you don't hurt your pipes. Let me finish this. Perfect. Okay, we're going to drain our noodles. The cold water is not for rinsing your noodles. Never rinse your noodles. If you rinse them, you wash the starch off. The sauce does not stick to the noodle. However, that cold water right there cools your pipes so that this hot water doesn't hurt your pipe. Let the cold water run for a couple minutes, and voila, here we go. We're going to take our lid, just like I showed you. It's time to turn off the chicken. We're going to get our spatula, and we're going to turn all of this. And folks, there you have it. Too many lights, not enough lights. It's as good as it can look. Oh, it's beautiful. We're going to take a mushroom, a little bit of pasta. That is so good. Of course, I say that about everything, but that is so good. It's an easy mix. It's an easy make. It's a delicious dish. If you make too much and you want to store it, use an airtight container. Let it cool to room temperature first. Snap it shut airtight. Put it in the fridge. When you reheat it, I wouldn't keep adding more cream. Use water when you want to reheat it. But remember, get it warm first. Put it in a saucepan. You can microwave it if you like. Chef Mike does a good job. But once it's hot or pretty warm, then add your water. Don't put your water in first. It'll separate out as it heats. You can serve this with garlic toast, giant frozen garlic bread loaf you get at the store, a nice dinner salad. You can serve it just the way it is for lunch. It's all up to you. But this is delicious, and I hope you like it. Now, if you want the full recipe of ingredients, go to CHEFKenDad.INFO, and you're going to see every item I make with a complete list of ingredients there. You can go to CHEFKenDad.com. The aprons and hats and everything will be there very soon. So, if you have any questions, you can contact me. I hope you enjoyed everything. This is Chef Ken Dad reminding you, baking is science, but cooking is art. Take care.